So what's going on, everybody? This is the Dirt Diggler, the dirtiest diggler of all the digglers. If a diggler's could dirt, they would dirt like me. Ha! So I'm coming at you from the DMV. I'm in Maryland, not far from Fort Meade. So it just so happens to be April 20th, 420. So for all those folks who enjoy the schmoke, be sure to enjoy your schmoke responsibly today. And happy U Day. I can't partake. I actually have a day job. I'm sorry. Years past, perhaps. Either way, hey, look, diehard Eagles fan, huge Eagles fan, and big news today with the Eagles. So the Eagles got the number 2 pick from the Cleveland Browns today, and they had to give away quite a bit. Let's see. The Eagles traded the first-round pick, so the Browns get number 8 this year's draft. The Eagles gave away the 3rd and the 4th rounders as well for 2016, and the Eagles also gave away a first-round pick for 2017 and a second-round pick in 2018. That is freaking huge. But the Eagles got in exchange for that was this year's number 2 overall pick and a 4th-round pick next year. So I'm not sure what they can make that into, but hey, they're selling a farm, and that's just what it is. So this is massive. The Eagles already traded up to get to the number 8 spot from, I believe they were 13 earlier this offseason. And really, this wasn't a deep class for offensive players. This was a defensive draft. There's a couple top-flight linemen that were being looked at, and I was really content with the Eagles possibly making a move on Conklin or Stanley to shore up that line and really bring in some solid talent to protect Bradford and open up the running game. So because Bradford's not a bad quarterback. But instead what we get is this blockbuster trade a week before the draft, roughly, with the Browns. And, I mean, if there's a futile franchise, it's the Browns. Let's be real about this. So the Browns are going to get a ton of picks, and I totally expect them to waste about 3 of those picks on bust quarterbacks, and for the rest of the picks to be used on players that rarely see the field due to injuries and or suspensions. Looking at you, Johnny Football, and Josh, goddamn smoking weed Gordon. Whew. I don't know what Johnny Football would have became. He was a shithead to begin with, but Josh Gordon, he was a talent, man. He actually put up some numbers and did some things. He just couldn't stay away from the devil's lettuce. So I know he's being drug tested at some point in time today. So good luck on that. I don't know if consecutive back-to-back failure is what they do to your career, but I'm sure it's not good. Either way. So, yeah, the Browns are going to completely fuck this up, and that's to be expected. So if you're from Cleveland, deep down inside, you fully agree with what I'm saying. Your team will fuck this up somehow worse than my team did in making the trade. So just rest knowing that. Either way. So the Eagles, this is an interesting situation for the Eagles. They mortgaged their future for the most part, not quite the same way their Skins did with the Rams trade years ago, but they do give away a lot. There were a lot of needs all over the field. The offensive line, defensive secondary, linebacking core. For those positions that they're strong at with starters, there's very little depth, and the drop-off when you go into the benches is pretty extreme. You have Fletcher Cox in the defensive line. He's a once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime type player. He's out of control. He's great. Hopefully they sign him. But really, who do you have behind him? There's not a lot of folks that are going to come off the bench and spell him if need be. The running back situation is not that great, but running backs are just about a dime a dozen nowadays. Bradford, I like Bradford more than I think he gets raked over the coals unnecessarily. I think he did a good job late last year, considering that the receivers were dropping a lot of passes and the line wasn't giving him any time. Those things are those are important things, but they find themselves in a very interesting situation. This is very, very close to what they were dealing with in the late 90s when they first brought Andy Reid on. So here we have the same owner, Jeff Lurie, who brings in Reid 2.0 with Doug Peterson, who was actually on that team, I want to say, as he was a quarterback. He started in front of McNabb for a few games before they felt that Donovan was ready to start taking snaps as a starter. So that's an interesting factoid there. But so you have Reed 2.0 with your head coach, and you also bring in Jim Schwartz, who is a very aggressive defensive coordinator. So you hope you get Jim Johnson 2.0 with him, which would be nice. Jim Johnson, rest his soul, gave us a lot of good years and a lot of really, really good defenders. And it was a shame to see him die from cancer. But, hey, we're all gonna take the dirt nap eventually. And hopefully he can his ghost can haunt this team into some championships. That'd be great. Either way, so we have the Reed 2.0 era hopefully starting. Only thing missing really is they don't feel they have like their guy. And I can kind of get it. I think Bradford's a really good quarterback. I think he'll do great things for this team, but apparently the team doesn't feel like he is the future. You're not going to get 10 more years out of Bradford. You're not going to get NFC championship games out of Bradford or a Super Bowl appearance out of Bradford. I don't agree, but I understand. So they go for their guy, right? So this is not a offensive-heavy draft. This quarterback class is horrible if you look at the volume. The sheer amount of quarterbacks that are looked at is first, second round starters is maybe 2 quarterbacks, right? You have Jared Goff and you have Carson Wentz. So the Eagles are obviously making a play at either one of those 2 guys. Goff, I guess, is more of a McNabb type player, mobile, tough, big arm. Goff, hopefully he can become, like his predecessor. Well, really predecessor out of Cal, Aaron Rodgers, become that wildly mobile quarterback that makes you pay if you blitz him and do anything else. So hopefully, though, either one of those 2 picks fall to us at number 2. Woo! Then we can get something going on with that. Maybe get a smart pick. But the biggest thing is that whoever they pick wouldn't have to start immediately, and that's important because you had that class a few years ago with Flacco and all these other players, and they came out and they started immediately and they did fantastically. And that is really not typical. And it really skewed the expectations for a rookie quarterback. I mean, Paxton Lynch is apparently a physical specimen. He's a monster, 6'7", 250-something. Dude's a monster. But, they look at him and they see he is an incomplete project. He would have to be developed some. And that's understandable. You got to give him time to develop. So if you were to stick him out in the field right now, especially with the weak roster, he'd probably be like any of the other, like a Ryan Leaf, maybe burnout. Because I think Ryan Leaf could have been good had he went somewhere else. A lot of these guys, just if they had found some stability, instead of being looked at as a savior, just give them some time to grow, they would have done a lot better than they did. But it's the NFL, you got to win now. So it's good that whoever they pick will ride behind 2 veteran starters and backups with Sam Bradford and Chase Daniels. And I really think that they're trying to usher in the next 12-year run with 10 years of NFC dominance. I think that's what the Eagles are going for. That's the only bright side I can see to any of this is that outcome. Of course, they could draft somebody and he blows his knee at the first day of training camp. Right? It happened to the Jaguars last year. They draft a stud defensive end. The dude blows his knee first day of training camp before he even signs a contract. And I mean, it's tragic. Now the Jaguars took good care of the guy. They signed him, gave him his contract, even though he was busted, wasn't going to play for him that year. They did the honorable thing, in my opinion, by signing him. And I don't think they really shafted him at all because his pay was capped anyway because he was a rookie. So it's not like he was going to get a big payday like 10 years ago. But he got paid nonetheless. So I thought that was a real stand-up thing for the Jaguars to do. That was good. That was good. But yeah, I mean, so let's say they draft Goff, whatever, and he plants that foot back and blows his knee, and now we have another situation like Sam Bradford. Do the Philadelphia fans have enough patience to let this guy heal? I mean, Philly fans, while passionate, oh God, so passionate, don't have a lot of patience for this kind of thing. I mean, you got to really show them. You got to put it on your sleeve, right? So the quick segue: how could a city reject the most winning quarterback they've ever had with McNabb while embracing a character like Allen Iverson? Well, I'll put it to you like this. Allen Iverson played with a chip on his shoulder, and he played emotionally. He really put it all out there. As a result, the media may not have liked him, but the city of Philadelphia embraced him because they kind of felt he reflected them more than McNabb did. McNabb liked to maintain the company man image, say the right thing. He was looked at as like a coach's boy, I guess. So, he never really expressed himself. Hap McNabb flipped out a couple times, maybe punched the podium, kicked someone down some stairs. Just something outrageously violent and Philly-esque there. Philadelphia fans would have loved him, but instead he was always reserved, never seemed to take it seriously, and they really couldn't stand that. And Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley threw a dude through a window in the 80s at a bar. I remember this as a little boy. The dude spit in his face at the bar. He threw him through a window. That's Philadelphia. That's what you do there. Somebody disrespects you, spit in your face, you put him through plate glass window. So be it. Barkley's not a small dude. You had to know what you're getting into. It wasn't like you didn't know who he was. Either way. So that kind of persona is what the fans are looking for. Brian Dawkins, Weapon X. You knew what you were getting with him. Dude was emotional. He put it out there, and Philadelphia fans absolutely love Brian Dawkins. Seth Joyner. All those guys who were really just emotional players. The city of Philadelphia has and always will love them. So whoever they draft has got to be able to do that. Nick Foles, he was an adequate football player. He was a boring human being. It's really hard to get the city behind you if watching your interview is like watching grass grow or paint dry on growing grass. It's horrible. So he's not going to be embraced. Bradford's very secretive. He probably won't be embraced, which I think is fueling why people are so quick to throw him under the bus. He doesn't flip out. He's reserved. Bradford's a very reserved, private guy to himself. I don't think that his personality is fit for Philly, but I think as a player, I think he's a good fit. And hopefully he's there for for a good few more years, unless this whoever we draft grow into a functional player. I hope we get another 3 years out of Bradford, honestly, before we start the rook. But that's to be decided. So the football geniuses have done this, and the reactions are happening, and I think it was the EDP 445 is his name, the Eagles fan who flips out and records himself losing his damn mind. Man, do it, man. Shit, you're going to have a fucking stroke, but, you go ahead and lose your goddamn mind. I get it. Like, I flipped out. I lost my goddamn mind when they made that trade. I was like, the fucking Browns are going to waste the goddamn picks, and we just gave away the future, and it was all doom and fucking gloom. But if you really stop and, all right, let me think about this. You think about it for a few minutes. You go, okay, I kind of see what they're doing, right? So you got to give them points for at least trying. And really, this guy could be the next McNabb. He could be better than McNabb. He could take the Eagles to the next step and get him that first ring. Think about it. The Eagles have multiple championships, but none of them are in the Super Bowl era, right? So we sit in a division, right? This division, NFC East, has more Lombardi trophies residing in it than any other division in football, still, to this day, right? None of them belong to the Eagles. And you better believe, I'm here in Maryland. I got Ratbird fans around me and Washington professional football team fans around me, and I got to hear about their goddamn Super Bowls all the fucking time. And it's shit's annoying, right? But I did see a Browns fan in the hallway at work. He had a Browns lanyard, and for a minute I really it was the first time I felt bad for another football fan. I was like, wow, as much shit as I get wearing the Eagles lanyard, this guy's wearing a Browns lanyard. I have nothing but respect for him. I know he's getting it. Shit, he's in the same division as these horrible Pittsburgh fans that's running around here and these Ratbird fans. Not a lot of Cincinnati fans, but who gives a shit about them or their chili? That's what it is. So I just wanted to do a quick down and dirty podcast. This is my first one. I haven't been on a mic in quite some time, and I'm actually using subpar gear. I'm just using a USB headset. I got a nice condenser mic and amp and everything else, but I don't have all the gear to work on this computer, so I'm just going with the cheapo shit right now, and I guess in the next few weeks I'll gather up all the other gear I need to make this work, and then maybe I'll start incorporating some phone calls somehow. I got some interesting personalities that I'd like to talk to, and I got to find a way to capture that so that I can get it on here. Got some folks at work that have been waiting for this, and hopefully I can get them in the studio. And when I say the studio, it's not really a studio. It's a garage that was converted into a room that's really just got a bunch of boxes in it. So this is the closest thing I'll get to a studio in my house. But hey, you do what you got to do, right? You make your dream happen. So yeah. Hey, look, that's all I got. So if you, I don't actually care if you disagree or agree with my opinions. I don't fucking care. I'm just glad you listened to them. Maybe at some point in the future, I'll have some kind of discourse where I'll read your opinion and do whatever. But I'm pretty sure the 0 listeners that I have aren't going to have much to say. So, hey, help me get out there and Hey, thanks for the last 15 minutes.